Here's the tube assembly out of the cage. There's not really much to it. You can see the capacitor on the right there got pretty darn hot and blew wax everywhere. And this thing's really dirty, but got to be very careful moving this thing around because there's lots of fragile wooden coil formers on this thing. And really don't want any of those to get broke because the coils are probably the hardest part to fix in any radio. A couple of little capacitors here, it looks like. The main problem I have is these 4 can caps up top here. Since they're kind of a weird form factor, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to go about replacing those. I'm probably just going to have to take them out and you know, put new ones in their place and figure out a way to hold them, because I'm not sure I can even restuff these. They're just in really bad shape. Maybe I can get replacements. I'm really not sure. I have to look into that further, but now that the power supply is pretty much done, this is going to be the hardest part. I don't think there's anything in the tuning condenser cage that's going to be, you know, anything that needs to be repaired. So this is it here. Just 4, I think there's like 6 caps I got to change on here, and other than that, just need some cleaning up. It's pretty neat how the cage had a special notch in the side to fit the wiring loom here. So I'm going to break this video into 2 parts since I want to go ahead and upload what I've got so far, and I'll make a second video showing where I pick up after this, and hopefully to the point to where the radio is working again. This is the main RF amp chassis out of the Sparton 931, and the hard part of this is going to be replacing these 4 big capacitors here and these 2 smaller ones underneath. I was going to restuff these, but I think it's just going to be too much work, and it's, you know, not really my thing. So I'm just going to try and find a way to mount the new capacitor on end. Put that in there, cover it with shrink tubing or something. I already blew all the dust off this. It was really dirty, and in fact it's still pretty dirty, but I'm just going to clean it up the best I can and get it back together. This is a very low budget project, so I'm going to do what I can to make it work. And I'm not going to throw away the original caps, because sometime down the road might be able to restuff those and do a real restoration, but for now the owner just wants it to work, so let's see what we can do. I love this website dedicated to these Sparton Equison radios. Nice clear diagrams. I'm going to print this up so I have a reference to go with my schematic. Let's see here. I already have it saved, so I'm just going to go to print. And do not fit to frame. I want the whole picture. Print. Okay. Let's run out and grab my printout. Yeah, nice printer stand, I know. This printer is pretty old and slow. It was made in 1992, actually. Still does the job for what I need. There's only 2.5 megabytes of memory in this thing. Oh, and it's being fed by my Linux-based network server using the cupped printer server. Should be coming out any time now. Here we go. I don't know why I'm recording the printer, but whatever. I'm bored, I guess. Oh, and it's 300 DPI glory. Works good enough for me. As you can see, the purists are going to have my head over this, but I decided to mount the new caps underneath the chassis. The upside is that the tubes will run much cooler because they have a lot more ventilation. And with these rare, kind of expensive tubes, it's important to get as much life out of them as you can. But yeah, I wish I could have made it a little bit better looking, especially the ones on the metal bracket here. I kind of got those leads the wrong length on the one on the right there, and I don't know, some stuff just isn't oriented exactly how I'd like it, but hopefully the radio is going to work now. We'll find out shortly.
An emergency call.
Well, it's kind of working.
Getting an emergency call on 10th Avenue.
For some reason it won't tune below 850 kilocycles, but it's come a long way.
Performing a broomectomy.
Need to get a couple of better tubes. A couple of the tubes that are in there are the wrong ones, and they're kind of weak. And I don't have the power switch hooked up yet because it needs a new wire. But yeah, at least it's somewhat functional, and I know for a fact that the field coil and the speaker transformer are still good because they work.
Concentrate on each team. Just a little closer to the microphone.
It's pretty hard to tune a station on these old radios, and this probably needs an alignment pretty bad too, but you need a special tool to adjust the things down there in the tuner that I don't have. So let's see if I can make any more progress on this when I'm more awake. I am just totally ripped right now. I haven't ate anything all day either, so that's not helping. Here's the tuner with the covers taken off. There's junk in the bottom of the shield here. That's the main reason I took that off. And also to inspect the coils, and for the most part they look okay. But there's a little bit of discoloration on that third coil there. Hopefully there's no damage to it. Nothing looks like it's gotten hot, and I don't see any broken wires. So I'm going to clean it up and put this cover back on. Protect those fragile coils. Now I was going to try to clean the dial face, but I'm kind of afraid of either rubbing the print off or breaking it. And there are replacement faces available, but I've already gone over budget on this project, so I'm going to try not to damage this one. Here's the chassis for the Sparton 931. I've got it all back together now and got all the covers in place. The owner didn't want to have the speaker reconed for budget reasons, so I had to leave it rigged up the way it was. I just cleaned up the messy wiring that was going to it before, and took off the transformer that was on that speaker that's mounted inside the frame. For some reason they had the output of that transformer going into another transformer and then going into the speaker, and that was really not going to work that way. So now the existing transformer is running directly to the speaker, and the radio works, but I'm still having trouble with the lower half of the dial tuning. I don't know if it's because the antenna is too small or what's going on, but I'll show the odd behavior that it has. Let's turn it on here.
Go away within 24 hours and you feel fine again. But if you don't get to a stroke center or hospital center,
Register online, visit plungepa.org. That's plungepa.org.
The K1 will do AccuWeather forecast for the Jersey Shore tomorrow and tomorrow night. Windy.
See, if I go below 850, it doesn't tune anymore. And depending on where I have the volume, it actually stops or starts making noises or starts oscillating. You can hear the microphonic whenever something touches it. Dead silent when you got the volume up all the way. Absolutely nothing on the lower dial, but go past 850 or so, It is extremely loud. Now the other thing I'm having a problem with is right over here, this little add-on module that is supposedly another amplifier stage. I can't find a schematic for it, and I need to know what value this double capacitor here is. I measured it with a capacitance meter, and both sections measured about 1 microfarad. So somebody had substituted something in here. It looks like a 0.1, yeah, a 0.1 microfarad in there. And there's some wires cut off. I really don't know if I want to bother putting this back in until I get it straightened out. Apparently it was to make the radio louder, and I think I couldn't stand it being any louder than that. It's already painfully loud at full volume. So I don't know if it's because the tubes are kind of mismatched or what the deal is. I've checked everything over, fixed a set of shorted plates in the tuning condenser, and you know, tuned everything for the loudest reception, but nothing seems to affect the problem that it's having.
Big snowstorm heading in our direction for Sunday. We could be seeing anywhere between 8 to 12 inches of snow, and maybe even more than that, especially as you head to the shore. So this is a big deal storm coming for us on the rest of the year. High temperature Monday, 20.
Meglio all over the country. Very, very soon. Meglio. You can find out about yourself. And you'll say, hey, I gotta get back to this place. Once you go, you'll want to go back. Minestrone soup and all. Cold weather. Oh, what a great soup. On their salad dressings, no, they don't come out of some big bottle that has been made who knows where with who knows what. These are handmade, homemade, made right there. All their salad dressings. But that Luigi's Pizza at Meglio's is supreme. It is delightful.
And if I could get this thing to tune the rest of the dial, it would really be nice.
Crust pizza.
The only downside of these type of receivers not being super heterodyne, stations tend to bleed into each other, and they're very picky about the antenna, and just, you know, they tend to drift a lot. But nonetheless, I think I can call this radio working now. It's come a long way from what I started with. Too bad the knobs are mismatched and the cabinet's pretty rough. Don't know what the heck is going on with it below 850. It just starts acting up. Like here's 900. And you go. Depending on where you set the volume, it affects the reception of these lower bands. Or it just oscillates, and then if you turn it up all the way, it's just dead quiet. All the way down. See how microphonic that is?
For the news we brought you this year on WHO. It's a double ramp. Side McGee. 3:45 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Upper stations work really good. It's extremely loud too. But if any of you know what might be causing that odd tuning problem, let me know. Like I said, all the shielding is in place. The only thing I suspect is that the tubes being mismatched, you know, a couple of them aren't the right type of tube, and the gain is not matched in all of them, but I don't have any more tubes, so there's not much I can do about that. Other than that, at least it works somewhat.